We are in the middle of nowhere.
Days away from modern conveniences and places you can't take an RV or camper. Yet we are living like kings. So I wanted to talk about some of the things that I take to create a next level camp experience. And some of these things I'm really proud of. So let's check it out. This trip was all about two things: getting deep in the backcountry with everything we need to create the ultimate camp experience. And honestly, that all starts with organization. In years past, anytime my family went car camping, we would just pile everything into the back of the car wherever it would fit. Once something was used, it hardly ever went back to the same place twice. What I needed was a system that would help keep things organized, and ultimately settled on the Wolfpack Cases from Front Runner Outfitters. These cases are modular, stackable, and the perfect fit to stack 3 tall, 2 deep in the back of my 4Runner. Once stacked, they are stable enough to handle some pretty serious bumps and rocking on backcountry roads. But where they really shine is at camp, where not only are things neatly organized, but you can stack them to give you cabinet height access to your gear no matter where you camp. My cases are the older version with the plastic clips. Seems like they may have discontinued these in favor of the beefier metal clips that they are charging a little bit extra for, but honestly, they have made such a big difference in my packing, I'd still buy these even at the higher price. Now, I've never been a big fan of vehicle-mounted tents and awnings. Anything that can't work on its own separate from the vehicle seems like an inconvenience waiting to happen, but the Yakima Major Shady really surprised me because of how easy it was to set up and put away. So the last couple days have actually been pretty cool, but today it has warmed up quite a bit, and it's about 85 degrees Fahrenheit. And the sun is relentless today, and so we are very thankful for this 270-degree awning from Yakima. This is the Major Shady, and right now we would not be able to be sitting out here if we hadn't brought our own shade, so very thankful for it. Throughout our entire trip, the sun was constant, and I admit that it was really nice to pull up to camp, unzip the awning, and have shade within seconds. It was nice, but it also takes up a lot of space on the vehicle's roof rack, won't work with vehicles that don't have a T-track roof system, and it has to stay with the vehicle. If you're camping even a few dozen feet away from your car, it's not going to be much use. Out of all the things that I brought on this trip, this surprised me the most. I actually really didn't think it was going to be all that cool. I was like, okay, so what? It's a light, but man, it is so nice. It will take nighttime and make it feel like daytime. Maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but it's not much. This is the Skylight by Goal Zero, and it may not look very bright in these videos, but it really did light up our campsite better than I could have imagined. Built on top of this gigantic 12-foot tall tripod, it can cast a light over a very large area. Goal Zero claims that it's up to 300 feet, which I didn't personally measure, but I can say that this light was more than enough to light up my entire campsite with enough light to do whatever I needed. Although it's designed to be plugged into a power station, it does have a small internal battery that will last up to 8 hours on its lowest setting and 1 hour on its highest. Plugged into a power bank, you get 125 hours on low and 8 hours on high. Okay, we have been out several days, and believe me when I tell you that this trip would not be possible if it wasn't for this right here. This is the Iceco APL 55 fridge/freezer, and I'm very thankful to the nice people at Iceco who are very generous and sent out not only the fridge but also the integrated drawer slide, because we have had no opportunity to get ice, but yet we still have ice cold Coke, and even better than that, ice cold ice cream. Can't do that with a cooler. One of my biggest problems when camping for extended periods of time is the constant need for ice. Most of the coolers we have used only allow for 3 to 4 days of ice before needing to be replenished. But this Iceco fridge freezer combo stays cool for days on end when paired with a power station. I plug the fridge into the power station and the power station into my vehicle. The power station keeps the fridge running and gets recharged by the car every time we move to a new location, which on this trip was only a couple hours each day. Which means most of the time the fridge was running solely on battery power and never pulled my power station lower than 95%, thanks in part to these thick insulated walls that keep power consumption to a minimum, but in a pinch could also serve as a cooler if for some reason you lost power for any amount of time. Now, like I mentioned, this is a dual zone fridge/freezer combo, but not everyone needs a freezer in the backcountry, and if that's you, then the APL 55 is flexible. If you want all fridge or even even all freezer, you can simply pull out the divider and adjust the zones to whatever temperature you want. Oh, and before I forget, Iceco was so excited when I told them I was going to be doing this video, they wanted to give you a discount, 12% off when you use the code MyLifeOutdoors. Go check them out at icecofreezer.com or through the links in the description. Speaking of power stations, these two 1,000 watt power stations were the heart of just about everything we did. I have this EBL station that I left dedicated to the fridge, and I use this Goal Zero Yeti to power everything from the Skylight to charging our phones, and even running a projector to keep us entertained during the long, dark evenings of winter, even though the projector didn't quite work out how I wanted. All right, I was going to have the coolest camp that there ever was because it gets so dark so early in the wintertime. I bought this projector and I was going to set it up so that we could watch a movie. The only problem is this cheap projector, Apple thinks that it's going to steal the movie, that I'm trying to bootleg the movie. It doesn't have HDR playback, and so it's not allowing me to use this projector to project the movie. So I guess that means we're watching a movie on my computer instead of this really cool projector setup that I had. Without these power stations, it would have been hard to do all the things that made this trip so comfortable, including my favorite new piece of gear. Now this I'm proud of. I made this sink myself from one of the front runner cases, an RV sink that I got off of Amazon, and a white cutting board I got from Walmart. It's got a water hose that runs into the back of it and comes all the way over here to my 10-gallon front runner water jug, into an on-demand pump that I've installed into this toolbox. That way, every time you turn on the water, it supplies water to the sink. Now that I'm proud of. The water tank is this 10-gallon Footwell water tank by Front Runner Outfitters, the same company that makes the Wolfpack cases that I mentioned earlier. I connected it to a small water pump that I got off of Amazon and installed in this cheap toolbox, wiring it up so that it plugs into the Yeti power station and runs to the sink via a water hose. Every time I turn on the sink, the pump turns on, supplying running water that is great for washing hands, dishes, or whatever you need it for. Just make sure that you're using biodegradable soap. If you want even more information on just how I made this sink, be sure to sign up for my email list. I'll publish a video there showing exactly how I made this and more. Links are in the description. Now, the one thing we haven't talked about is how we cook all our food while we're out here. If you want to know more about our cook systems, go check out this video right here. Please like, subscribe, and do all those other things. And as always, thanks for watching.